right, it's time for another NFL mock draft as the first wave of free agency is kind of come and gone. Still a few big dominoes. Obviously, got Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. Got to see that all play out. But a lot of teams have filled a lot of key positions. How could that impact the draft? Let's go ahead and dive into it. My 7th mock draft here on Verts. Harrison Graham here. Here we go. Okay, Tennessee Titans have not done much of anything at quarterback. They still have Will Levis. They did sign Brandon Allen. Mason Rudolph is back in Pittsburgh. Doesn't appear that they are in the Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson sweepstakes. To me, that is a sign that they are drafting a quarterback. And to me, that is Cam Ward, the most talented quarterback in this draft. Not a typical top QB of a draft, but a good prospect, I would say. I think in this draft specifically, worthy of the number 1 pick. I'm going to go Shedeur Sanders, number 2 to Cleveland. I know after the Combine there was the, Shedeur could slide. He could go middle of the first round. He could even fall out of the first round. Well, what are the Browns going to do? They convinced Myles Garrett to stay. They traded for Kenny Pickett. Russell Wilson visited there today. Is that the message they're sending to Myles Garrett? We're trying to get Russell Wilson. We're going to roll out Kenny Pickett. I think you got to provide hope. I think Shedeur Sanders gives you at least hope. The Giants do not end up with one of those two guys. They end up with Travis Hunter. Obviously, they are pushing hard to get Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson appears to be their fallback option. He is visiting on Friday. I think in this situation, it's either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. I'm not reaching for a Jackson Dart. Their defensive line's pretty loaded, so I'll go with Travis Hunter. He could play both ways for New York. Who will be the Giants quarterback in 2025? Will it be Rodgers, Wilson? Will it be a rookie? Will they go sign someone else? I don't even know who it would be at this point in time. I feel like they will get Russell Wilson if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, but time will tell. Okay, at number 4, Abdul Carter to the Patriots. You could argue he's the best prospect in this draft. New England has invested more on defense in free agency than on offense. You could argue a bigger need is a receiver or an offensive lineman, but I think this is just a clear BPA situation, and Patriots are still, in their rebuilding phase at this point in time. Take the best player available. That's Abdul Carter. The Jaguars do the same thing here. They take Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. Again, you could go O-line, but they added a couple linemen in free agency. You could go receiver, but I think Mason Graham ends up being the pick here. Tetairoa McMillan goes to Vegas. I think this is an easy plug and play. They've got Brock Bowers. They tried to get DK Metcalf. That didn't work out, but you bring in Geno Smith. You need to give him a big-time playmaker in addition to Bowers. McMillan can provide that. They might end up signing Tyler Lockett as well. That'd be a pretty fun trio along with Jacoby Myers also, but I think they need a future wide receiver 1, and I think McMillan gives you a chance to be just that. How about the Jets taking Armand Mimbu? I've usually gone defense here, but they've added some pieces on defense in free agency. They obviously signed Justin Fields. They bring in Josh Myers to play center. Olu Fashanu is going to kick out to left tackle from right tackle. Mimbu, to me, plug and play on the right side. That's a natural fit for him where he played in college, and their O-line's kind of set. Quietly, that could be a pretty good run game in New York if they fill that right tackle spot. Jahdae Barron goes to the Panthers at 8. Some would say he's the best overall DB in this draft. Versatile. He could play outside. He could play nickel. He could play some center field safety for you. A willing tackler. Does a little bit of everything. You can move him around. So Panthers get a versatile piece in the secondary. The Saints go Will Campbell here. Their tackles are set, but they need a left guard. A lot of people think that could be Campbell's best position in the NFL. The arm length is kind of an issue to play tackle, so for most teams he'll be a guard. Saints plug and play him at left guard, keep him in the state of Louisiana. Bears go Ashton Jeanty here. I think if he gets past Vegas at 6, there's a good chance he'll get to 10, and if he gets to 10, there's a good chance the Bears will take him, especially if the top 2 offensive linemen are off the board. I don't think Chicago would reach for an edge here, even though that would have stronger positional value. I think Jeanty's the best player on the board, and we know Ben Johnson wants to add another running back. How about Jihad Campbell to the 49ers? I think they would love for Mimbu to get here. I don't think he's getting to 11. I thought about Tyler Warren here, but Jihad Campbell, you lose Dre Greenlaw in free agency. Fred Warner's getting a little bit older. He's been rising. I think Campbell, you get him at linebacker here. He's your number 2 guy, and in a year or two when you move on from Fred Warner, he's kind of your top guy there. Tyler Warren goes to the Cowboys at 12. I thought Jake Ferguson had a bit of a disappointing year last year. They have CeeDee Lamb, but they need another big-time weapon. If it's not a running back here, I could see it being Tyler Warren if he's still on the board. Subscribe to Verts. We're going to continue to pump out mock drafts every single week. We're, of course, staying on top of free agency, trade buzz, everything else going on in the National Football League. We'd love to get to 9,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Hit that subscribe button. We're 669 away. If you want daily content around the NFL, we got you covered. At number 13, Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, goes to the Dolphins. Thought about O-line here, but like the fit for Johnson. He could play opposite of Jalen Ramsey. Colts go guard here, Tyler Booker. They lost Ryan Kelly, their starting center. They lost Will Fries at guard. I think Booker in that Shane Steichen system fits. He can be just kind of a bully at left or right guard there, plug-and-play starter. I like the fit. Mike Green goes to the Falcons at 15, 3-4 edge rusher, seamless fit in Raheem Morris's defense. Like that fit as well. Kelvin Banks Jr. goes to the Cardinals. He could play guard. He could play tackle. I think for Arizona as a rookie, he'd probably play guard. Best offensive lineman on the board at this point, considering Josh Simmons' knee issue. Banks goes to Arizona. Donovan Azaraku, given the fact that they're letting Trey Hendrickson seek a trade, the Bengals desperately need an edge rusher. Even if they kept Hendrickson, I still think I would go Azaraku here. They just need to get better on defense. Azaraku's been rising. I think he's going to be a top 20 pick. They get him here at 17. For Seattle, I think it's simple. You either need to get an offensive lineman to help protect Sam Darnold, or you need to get him another weapon. DK Metcalf is gone. They cut Tyler Lockett. They added Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's a number 3, number 4 type. Obviously, they have Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think Golden can step in, be a 2, opposite of JSN. Like that fit. Jalen Walker, the edge out of Georgia, can play off-ball linebacker too. We'll see where he fits. I like Todd Bowles as a defensive mind. He's pretty creative with how he uses players. I think Jalen Walker is a chess piece. They'll play him at multiple spots. I think in a 3-4 he fits better because he can play edge and off-ball in that system. That's what Bowles runs. I think that works. Marion Hampton to the Broncos at 20. Before free agency, I was going tight end a lot for Denver at 20, but they just signed Evan Ingram. So I think Hampton now becomes a pretty popular pick that you're going to see in mock drafts. Second running back in this draft. They want to be able to be more effective running the football. They let Javonte Williams walk in free agency. I think Hampton, plug-and-play upgrade starter, should be a good player in that system. How many running backs go in the first round? I think it's 2 or 3. I think for sure Jeanty and Hampton go. The question is, does a Judkins, does a Travion Henderson, a Caleb Johnson, does someone else sneak into round 1? Stay tuned for the rest of my mock draft. Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, goes to the Steelers at 21. They were linked to a couple of guys in free agency, Jonathan Allen being one of them, Javon Hargrave. Did not land them. There was a report out there that since they're waiting on the Rodgers situation, they have to keep money available for that. That cost them a defensive tackle. Well, how about you get one in the NFL draft in Kenneth Grant? Colston Loveland goes to the Chargers at 22. You got to get Justin Herbert a good weapon. I like him better than the receivers at this point. Jim Harbaugh connection seems pretty easy pick here. Josh Simmons goes to the Packers at 23. Their left tackle is entering the final year of his rookie contract. He's been up and down. With Simmons' knee issue, you could kind of just redshirt him, train him up, and then he could take over in 2026, or you could let him compete this year for a starting job. I just like the value at this point. I think it's a BPA situation, a kid that if he did not have the knee injury probably would have gone top 10. Still could, but could also slide a bit. He goes to the Packers at 23. Luther Burden III goes to the Vikings here. Jordan Addison is probably going to get a suspension stemming from an arrest last offseason. So gives you a guy who could step in and be that number 2 receiver early on. And then he settles in as a rookie as a number 3, probably a kick punt returner type. And then maybe long-term he becomes your 2 if Addison's not a long-term piece. Obviously Jetta's in the building, but give them another weapon, especially if you're going to go to J.J. McCarthy. You want to surround him with a lot of talent, and Burden is a guy who you can do some different things with. Gray Zabel goes to Houston at 25. They got to do something, man. I would have gone left tackle here. Didn't love the left tackle board, though. Their interior needs work. That offensive line's in a bad spot. Even worse after trading Laramie Tunsil. They got to take a lineman here. I think Gray Zabel's a good fit. Jamar Stewart, the edge out of Texas A&M, could go a lot higher. I'm not as high on him as others are. Obviously, combine warrior, athletic freak, but the production's been hit and miss. Love the fit with the Rams, though, because they seem to get the most out of guys like this, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You saw what Braden Fisk and Jared Verts did last year. Stewart can get in there, rotate in. I think that could be a home run. Walter Nolan goes to the Ravens at 27. Some chatter that he could slide. He was getting top 10 buzz before the combine. Since then, some chatter he can move down in round 1. So Ravens take a chance, get him at 27. Feels like a classic Baltimore pick where a top 10, top 12 player in a draft falls to them and just ends up flourishing. Michael Williams goes to the Lions at 28. Didn't have the best pro day, but they could use another pass rusher. They cut Zadarius Smith. Aiden Hutchinson's coming off injury. I think that could be pretty good value for Detroit. All right, final few picks here. Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia. I just went BPA here. Washington can use more help in their secondary. They've obviously addressed the offensive side of the ball a lot in free agency. They trade for Tunsil. They trade for Debo. Malachi Starks is a chess piece that Dan Quinn can use on the back end. Emeka Egbuka, one of my favorite picks in this mock, falls to 30. Josh Allen gets another weapon. They don't have a true number one. They have a bunch of 2-3 types, and I don't think Egbuka is a day one number one, but he could be down the road, gets him another weapon on the offensive side of the ball. I like this pick as well. Josh Connerly to the Chiefs. They signed Jalen Moore, who's never been a full-time starter, to be their left tackle. That's pretty risky. I think you got to find someone in the draft to at least push him, compete with him. If he's not a starter, cool. If Jalen Moore wins the job, awesome. He could be a swing or you can play him somewhere else. Maybe he competes at guard also. But I think you got to get someone else in there that can at least push him. And then James Pierce Jr. to the Eagles. Wouldn't this be classic? A guy who was getting number one pick buzz heading into this college football season has slid a little bit. People have pointed to character concerns. That's right up Howie Roseman's alley. Jalen Carter, no one wants him in the top 5, top 6. I'll trade up. I'll take him at 9. James Pierce, no, everybody's scared to take him. I'll take him. He'll fit into our culture. So James Pierce goes 32 to the defending champs, and it's a natural fit because they lost a couple of defensive linemen, including Josh Sweat, in NFL free agency. All right, there you go. That's going to do it for our latest mock draft. We'll drop another one next week after some more free agency moves have dropped. Maybe we'll go 2 rounds. We'll have to wait and see what happens over the next few days. Shout out the player your favorite team got in this mock. Shout out who that player, who that team is, and how you feel about the pick. Chop it up in the comment section below. My name is Harrison Graham. We will see you guys next time here on 4 Verts. Don't forget to subscribe. See you then.